Okay, so far what I've done is I put on the classroom in the about section a alpha, well, not an alpha map, just a picture of a fern, a leaf. You can download that and open it straight into Photoshop. So if I just save the image, put it on the desktop for now. Save image as. Okay. I can open that leaf into Photoshop. Or not. Let's choose the download tool instead. Okay. So I'll open that in Photoshop now. Okay, so there's a couple of things that you need to be aware of whenever you're using alpha map. So an alpha map essentially is a transparency map. So it allows you to see certain parts of the texture and not see other parts of the texture. So with this leaf, obviously we want to be able to see the leaf part of it, but we don't want to see any of the black part of it. Okay. So if you put this onto a single plane, you'd see all of the black with it. So you have to create what's known as an alpha map. Now an alpha map is black and white. Black is see-through, white is 100% visible or opaque. Anything in between that in terms of different shades of gray will give you different variants of translucent texture. Okay. All right. So the first thing I need to do is be able to select the leaf. So the easiest way of doing it is using your magic wand, select the black section, go to select, and then similar, and it will select everything else that is black. Then I can do Control, Shift, and I, and I've now got the leaf selected as opposed to the black selected. Okay. At that point, I'm going to add in a brand new layer, because this is going to be my alpha layer or my alpha JPEG. Paintbrush tool, I want black and white. I want to make sure I'm using white in the foreground because the color I want to use. And then I'm just pasting straight over the top white where I want the leaf to be. So everything that is white is going to be visible, right? So the leaf's visible. Everything in the background, which is black currently, is correct. I want everything that is black to be invisible. However, remember that you're on a separate layer. So at the moment, my layer is white and nothing. So if I turn that off, that's what I'm looking at, just because I've got that image in the background. So I can turn that off, do Control, Shift, I again, which means I'll invert selection so I can have black. Press X on the keyboard to switch my foreground and background colors, and then paste over. That is an alpha map for this leaf. Okay. So I can go File, Save As, keep it as JPEG because the other one was JPEG. And I'll call it Fern Alpha. Save. Now, the other thing that I want to do, I'm going to remove the alpha map for a while and look back at the original picture. When you use an alpha map, and it depends on the game engine you're using and the way in which it uses alphas, sometimes you will see a slight slither of what was behind that texture. So for us, you'd be able to see a little bit of black outline around the entire thing. Okay, we don't want that. So with that in mind, if you know that there's going to be a chance of you seeing what's behind it, the best thing you can do is to make that color that is behind it as close to the color of the original image. For this, it's green, right? So I'm going to use my brush tool, hold down Alt, color pick somewhere around with the green, and then paste that straight over the black. Okay, so now if I do accidentally end up seeing slithers of whatever it is that's behind, you're not really going to notice because it's the same color as the leaf anyway. Does that make sense? Good. So I can save this now as my diffuse map. So it's Fern. And again, I'll save it as a JPEG. Save. Done. One thing that I'm going to mention here that hopefully doesn't confuse anybody. 3D Studio Max and game engines work very differently. 3D Studio Max allows you to have a separate alpha channel than with a diffuse channel. So you have one that is the color, and then one that is an alpha or a see-through map, and when you place it over the top, it'll allow it to be see-through. In Unity, in Unreal, in many of the game engines, the alpha channel is baked into the diffuse channel. into the diffuse map, sorry. To do that, I'll show you now. We'll bring back our black and white. I'm going to go Control A to select everything on that screen. Control C to copy it. I'm going to hide that layer because I'm not interested in it anymore. In fact, I can delete it. Now my background layer, which I can change to be diffuse. I'm going to go to the channels, and inside channels you've got RGB, red, green, blue. Okay, standard. That's what makes a picture. If I click on the little plus, or sorry, the add channel at the bottom, it'll automatically add an alpha channel. Okay, Control V, paste that in. Now this map, when taken into Unity or into a game engine, will automatically have the alpha channel baked into it now. So you don't need a separate channel. But to make things really annoying for us, that won't work in 3D Studio Max. In 3D Studio Max, you have to have two separate images. Okay, but I'm showing you both ways. So jumping back into 3D now, I'm just going to make a standard plane, and I'll kind of roughly guess the shape that my alpha channel is. Next thing, I'm interested in how many segments I want. Obviously, this is going to be a piece of foliage. So what I'm looking for is to keep the poly count down low, because I'm probably going to have to use quite a few branches, but I do want to have a bit of a bend to the leaves. Okay, so I'm going to reduce the amount of width segments down to just 2, 1, 2, so that I can bend it that way a little bit. And then this way, I might knock it down just by another 1. So I've got 1, 2, 3 sections in order to bend. Okay. So with that, I'm going to open up my material editor, drag in a standard material, drag in a bitmap. Obviously, that bitmap is going to be the diffuse. So I'll go to my desktop, which I think is where I saved it. Or did I not? Sorry, guys. Let me just check where I saved that. Downloads. Okay. All right, so I'll go to my download folder. And I'm looking for my diffuse texture first. Let's bring that one in, drop it onto diffuse color, and then throw that straight onto the map. I'm going to press F3 so I can see what's going on in the viewport. And then obviously I need to click this little button here to see the texture in there. So first thing you notice, it's stretched, right? So we need to fix that. So if I go to modify, in the list, you're all very used to going straight down and going to unwrap UVW. If you go to the one below it, which is just UVW map, select that, scroll down ever so slightly, and you'll see bitmap fit. Here it allows you to fit the image that's already on the plane to the original. It resizes that image. Okay, so now I know I can go back to plane, and I can resize my plane, the width, so that it fits on. Happy. At this point, I'm going to take it into perspective mode and just edit the geometry slightly. So like I said, I'm going to take take the middle, lift it up slightly. Just take one side, drop it, rotate it a little. Okay. From there, the next thing I want to do is create lots of these. So I'm going to make like a nice sort of circular set of foliage. So the first thing I want to do is move this pivot. So I'm going to go to hierarchy, into effect pivot only, and then look at it from a left viewpoint. Drag it over to where it should start, which is basically there. I haven't put it at the front. Good. And then I can use my rotation tool, hold down shift and make sure that angle snap's turned on. I rotate it by 45 degrees. I know I'm going to need 7 of them to get back round to the start. At that point, I can, whilst holding down shift, and make sure that your section up here is set to local. So it means I can lift some of these up as copies. We've got this. Then make a little bit of magic happen by adding in the alpha. New bitmap. Go and grab the alpha, and then apply that straight into the opacity map. And we've got foliage. Okay. So with you guys, what I'd like you to do, have a test first by using the piece of foliage that I've given you on the classroom. But then what I'd really like is if you can go out, take photographs of some pieces of foliage yourself and make your own really nice piece. Or you can digitally paint it if you feel like doing that. All right, cheers guys.